When someone asks me, well, what do I need to back up? My general answer is, well, you need to back up anything that you can't live without and you can't replace. And so in some cases that has to do with configurations of computers. Some cases that has to do with data. In this case it has to do with a database of information. As you learn to use ACT, as you make ACT part of your day, you'll find that you get to where you can't live without it. And if you can't live without it and you can't replace it, then you certainly need to back it up. And Sage, the makers of ACT 2006, had that in mind when they installed the backup tool that not only backs up the database, but also your personal files that you would also need in order to work with the ACT database. It's simple to do the backup. If you have the premium version, the networkable version of ACT 2006, you can even automate the process of doing the backup. We're not going to talk in specifics in regards to that, but what we're going to do is take a look at how we can manually perform a backup and then how we would manually perform the restore. So first, the backup. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to the File menu, click on File, which brings up the File menu, and then we're going to slide down to Backup. First thing we want to do is back up the database. So I'm going to slide over and click on Database. Now, wherever you backed it up last is what's going to come up. Now you can browse, and typically what you're going to do is you're going to browse and you're going to back your database up to something that is not the hard drive that it's on. That way if the hard drive crashes, then you'll have a copy of it elsewhere. That's the whole idea. For the purposes of this training, I'm just going to back it up to a folder called Backup, which is actually on the same drive. But I would highly recommend that if you're going to create a backup, that you have that backup be on a different physical drive. Notice also that it asks, do you want to password protect the file? You probably do want to password protect the file unless you're the only one who could possibly use your computer. But for the purposes of the training, we're just going to leave the password protect the file. We're going to leave that block unchecked. If you wanted to password protect it, you just check the block. Then we're going to click on OK, and the system says, okay, there's already a backup. We already have a backup that exists. Now, yours probably doesn't say that if you're following along and this is the first time. But what it's saying is, look, there's already something there that has the same name that you've given this. When you browse, you can decide what name you want to give it, but then part of the name, of course, is going to be depending on wherever you browse. So in this case, it's C, Documents and Settings, ACT, My Documents, ACT for Windows. It's in a backup directory, and it's called act8demo.zip. And it's already there. What I'm going to do is replace it, so I'm going to click on Yes. Notice then that it's backing up the database files. The system will go through and find the database files that it needs, backing up templates, backing up port templates, backing up the database, and then it'll come back and it'll tell me that the backup has completed successfully. Now, you can back it up to a floppy disk, but these days, with the kind of things that we're using, floppy disks don't hold much. You could back it up to a flash drive. That's always a possibility. You could back it up to a zip drive. You could back it up to another drive, another hard drive. And as you can see, the backup completed successfully. Now I'm going to click on OK. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on File and then Backup. And this time, the personal files. And notice then that it asks me, did you want documents? Do you want internet links? Do you want dictionaries? What is it exactly that you want? We can check or uncheck any of these blocks depending on what we want. I'm going to go ahead and leave them all checked. Click on OK. Say, okay, I know I already did this before, but I'm doing it again. Backup completed successfully. So as you can see, it's not difficult to perform these backups. It's just a matter of getting in the habit to do it. but we can set ACT to remind us to do backups. That's part of the preferences that we can set. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. We can also set it to automatically perform backups if we have the premium version of ACT. So it's important to understand how to keep the data in the system because people are relying on it. Even more than one person might be relying on the data at the same time. We'll talk a little bit about multi-user databases next.